Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take out your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And then remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. It's an all-American celebration, National Hot Dog Day. Are you a hot dog fan? Dodger dogs? No, we're Angel fans. I mean, what do you, well, you know, have some mercy on us. You know, as an Angel fan, we're used to disappointment.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Josh has his Angel hat on too. Okay. Yeah, Josh, he's an Orange County guy, so he knows what the disappointing world is of being an Angel fan. Since they got rid of Sosha, since they brought in Artie, I mean, maybe we could send Artie back to the billboards or something. I don't know, but that's a whole different story. I like Hebrew National, a nice Hebrew National hot dog with some ketchup and sweet relish. No onions for me. Look at that. Holy cow, Josh, you got to found a picture there. You got it all going on. It's like you got some, I don't know if that's pickles or jalapenos on there. I'm not into the spiciness. Are you spicy, Josh? No, he likes the spices. Okay. You know, I'm a wimp. I just like a nice Hebrew National hot dog, good bun, ketchup, a little sweet relish, and call it a day. Today's also National Gummy Worm Day. And that's a new one. I'm not a big fan of gummy worms. I mean, give me a malt ball, give me a Kit Kat, an M&M. Gummy worms? I don't know about the gummy worm. So my grandson's, he seems to like the sour gummy worms. Josh, your kids into the sour ones, or they like the regular? Okay, sour, yeah. I get, you know, it's... But now I did know, well, Josh, you've got this going on here. I don't know if this one's allowed or not, because I see a lot of red in there. Seems like we're getting rid of the red dye and everything. So I don't know. You know, I kind of chuckle at some of these things because all these years that we've got all this stuff going on. How many years did we live? We had red dye. Okay. We had artificial sweetener. That's not a good one anymore. I don't know. Maybe, I guess over time we learn more and things get better. But I digress. Let's see what the markets are doing today. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 104 points. The NASDAQ is up 9. We've got the S&P 500 down 3. Oil down 36 cents per barrel. That's going in the right direction. Gold down $11. Okay, that's not the way we want it to go. The 10-year Treasury is down about 4 basis points, 4.55. And the mortgage bond up 22 basis points. And I look at some of the things that are going on here. It's all got to do with, so one would think it has to do with what's going on in the Middle East. But no, What's really going on, that we're dealing with here, is reports coming out on inflation. So yesterday we got a favorable CPI report. Today we got a favorable PPI. So CPI, Consumer Price Index. So that's inflation at the consumer level. It's not the Fed's favorite measure because it's got too high of a weighting on housing. Like 44.6% comes out of housing. And there's only like 1 out of every 8 people are involved in the housing market at any given time. So it doesn't affect as many people. The PCE report, personal consumption expenditures, has about half of that weighted to housing. Well, then today we get the PPI report, and they say, okay, that's not as big an issue, producer price index. But what the producers are doing affects the consumers down the road in the supply chain. So when we get this favorable report in the PPI, it tells us that inflation down the road should be cooling. Now, these numbers are from the month of June. Well, since June, we've started the activities out there in the Gulf again, and we're watching what's going on with gas prices. I look at that, $3.89 a gallon is the national average. You know that California.
I got a bad feeling about this.
$5.39 a gallon in California. So we're going up again in California. And obviously it has to do with our special blends and our desire for lots of taxes. No matter what, the government just likes taxing us, especially here in California. So we keep on getting more and more. And I shouldn't even say it's the government's fault. I'm going to say it's the voters' fault. If you're voting for these same people that like to tax us, well, thank you. You're getting your way. And I look at the news. You know, can you imagine what would happen on the news if they didn't cover all of these different protests? Protesters would go, they would have nothing to do. They're not getting the publicity they want. And you know something, I don't like the idea of seeing people get killed in the street. Looks to me like when you have an ICE officer that shoots into a car through the front window. Well, they're not on the side of the car. It's kind of hard to get that curveball to go out that way. Again, not getting into that whole mess, but I am saying that we've gotten a little overboard in a lot of things that are going on, and it's not healthy. I saw that the Supreme Court, 2 justices went to Congress. Very, very rare for Supreme Court justices to testify in Congress. But unfortunately, they're out there saying, hey, we need more money for security. These are judges. They're justices. They're interpreting the law. They don't make the law. They interpret the law. Yet they need more money for security. And talk about, I don't know, is that a waste of our taxpayer dollars? Well, it's a waste that we need it. It's not a waste of, I mean, we've got to spend the money to protect these people. They're doing their jobs. They've been appointed. They've been affirmed. Whether you like what they're doing or not, I look at it and say, some of the cases I like, some of the cases I don't like. That tells me if I look at them and I say I like some and I dislike others, doesn't that mean they're doing their job? Right? I mean, does anybody ever go with that? They think they're going to get everything they want on everything? Just throwing that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, selling your home without an agent costs the average seller $65,000. In California, double it. New student loan rules could change your payment, your limits, and your credit. We'll show you the math. Savings is not about willpower. It's about the order you pay your bills. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 0186945. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com, and every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual lock rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to determine your principal and interest payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, shame on you, because we give them away for free. It's part of our suite of calculators. I think there's 92 financial calculators in there. rsrlinks.com/calculators, rsrlinks.com/calculators. Rates yesterday, conventional 30-year fix, 6.537. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.62. That was up. FHA 30-year fix, 6.314. That was up. VA 30-year fix, 6.15. That was down. And the USDA loan, generally no down payment in the rural areas if it qualifies. That one there is 6.371. That one was down. Don't forget, every week we come out with our weekend update. If you're not getting that, you should. rsrlinks.com/WUC. rsrlinks.com/WUC is our weekend update. And we give you our thoughts for the week on what's going on. So speaking of what's going on, we've got the S&P 500 now down 7.3. The 10-year Treasury yield is down 4 basis points, 4.55. And the mortgage bond is up 20 basis points. It's at 99.95. Don't worry about that part. It's up 20 basis points, which means interest rates are favorable. They're getting better. Why? Well, let's take a look at it. It's all got to do with the cooler than expected producer price index inflation report. The U.S. launched a fresh round of strikes on Iran early this morning, with President Trump warning that military strikes would intensify next week and include power plants and bridges if Iran does not cooperate in peace talks. The New York Fed President John Williams spoke this morning. He's always a voting member, and his more dovish comments also helped bonds. Williams believes that there will be no additional inflationary pressure from tariffs, as the new ones will be replacing the old, and that the modest increase seen in real-time rents will continue to help inflation come down. He also thinks that energy prices have peaked and that the imbalances in AI supply will recede. Williams does not believe the labor market is adding any inflationary pressure and thinks that the monetary policy is well positioned to bring inflation to target. So it sounds like he's in the camp of no hikes this year, and we like that one. Yahoo! Yeah. Yahoo! Yesterday, Fed Chair Kevin Warsh delivered his semi-annual testimony to the House and took questions. He believes the Fed should get out of the boom-bust cycles that they cause in the housing market, which is something we have expressed in the past. Part of the reason for this is the old data they are looking at, causing them to hike and cut too late. We hope Warsh's data task forces help that. And speaking of task forces, Warsh said he will update us with findings from them as they come, not just at the end of the year when they're likely to be finished. That could have an impact on monetary policy depending on the findings. When asked about the June CPI print, which was cooler, he answered very responsibly, saying he was not going to get overexcited by one report. That makes sense with the Strait now being closed and oil prices starting to rise again. As I mentioned, 79.04 on the WTI, oil down 30 cents today. Producer price index, wholesale inflation, just like we saw yesterday with consumer inflation, came in much cooler than expected. The June producer price index showed that headline inflation fell 0.3%, which was much better than estimates of 0. Adding to the light figure was a revision to May, bringing that reading down from 1.1 to 0.6. Year over year, headline producer inflation fell from 6% to 5.5%. After May was revised down from 6.5 to 6, the market was expecting 6.2, so this was much cooler. The BLS said 2/3 of headline drop was due to lower gas prices, which fell 12%. Yeah, we like that idea. The core rate, which strips out food and energy prices, rose 0.2%, which was half of the market estimates. The previous reading was revised down from 0.4 to 0.1. Year over year, core producer inflation rose from 4.6% to 4.7%, but that does not tell the whole story. The previous reading was revised lower from 4.9 to 4.6, and the market was expecting June to come in at 5.2. So the 4.7 read is much better. Bottom line, this was another good inflation report for June with big revisions to May, but the question remains, what happens going forward with oil flow and the strait being closed? That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. Why is it that we are so focused and so disappointed by these big revisions? And no one really talks about that because the revisions don't make the news. What happens is what's reality is it affects you. Why? Because your loan, if you're buying a new house, if you're refinancing, if you're taking out a debt consolidation loan, any of those things, when you go to take out that loan, it's based on the data at the time. That's where the rates are coming from, is coming from current data. When we get these data from the BLS, that's always, always, always wrong. And that's why I consistently tell you we refer to it as the BS reports, not the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And hopefully some of these focus groups that Kevin Warsh is working on will get us legitimate data. But I digress. We get this bad data. The bond market acts on the bad data. The mortgage market prices based on bad data, and you get to pay that bill not just for 1 month until they revise it next month. You get to pay it for the life of your loan as long as you keep it. Now, I know on average people keep their loans 5.2 years. When I consult people, they're always the one that says, I'm going to keep this loan forever. Well, if that's your scenario, if that's your case, I'm sharing with you that you've got a bad loan officer, because they're not watching your loan for you. Now, we can adopt any loan that we want to. We, on Ron Siegel Radio, we send out data every month about every property that we're monitoring for people that we've adopted. rsrlinks.com/myhome, I think it is. Yeah, rsrlinks.com/myhome. If you haven't gone in there and registered at rsrlinks.com/myhome, we don't sell your data to anybody. Once a month, we're going to send you a report on your house. If we've got your legitimate interest rate in there, we're going to monitor that for you as well. Your loan data will monitor that as well. And if and when there's time for you to take action, it's going to show you what options there are. And oh, by the way, once a week, we'll send you things to do in your area. Just a few things there for you. And all you have to do is go in there. It is totally free to you. Like the majority of the services that we offer are completely free to you. rsrlinks.com/myhome. We pay for it, but it costs you nothing. All you have to do is get the email, open it, take a look at it. If you have questions, you call us. You make an appointment. We set up a Zoom call. It's really, really simple. We've also rolled out now our new tool for getting out of debt as quickly as you want to. Now, there are 82 different methods of getting out of debt. Mortgage debt, consumer debt, student loan debt. rsrlinks.com/debt-free. rsrlinks.com/debt-free. Now, when you go there, it's going to show that there's a fee for it. But when you go on the far right and it says, talk to a counselor, that's me, then there is no cost to you to get the report. Now, if you want us to coach you through over time, well, then there's a fee to that when we'll do it. But to get your report and find out what the options are for you, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, selling your home without an agent costs the average seller $65,000. In California, double it. New student loan rules could change your payment, your limits, and your credit. We'll show you the math, all that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. $65,000. That's not a lottery ticket. That's not a bonus at work. That's the difference between what the typical home sells for with an agent and without one. And most sellers who skip the agent have no idea they left that kind of money on the table. I'm Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let me give you the numbers, because I always want you to see the math for yourself. The National Association of Realtors looked at median sale price, homes sold with an agent, a median of $425,000. Homes sold by owner, what the industry calls FSBO, FSBO, or for sale by owner, $360,000. That gap is $65,000. And remember, those are national medians here in California and certainly here in Orange County. Home prices can run double those numbers or more. So do not think of this as a $65,000 conversation. At our price points, that gap can easily be $135,000. The more expensive the home, the more expensive the mistake. Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking. Ron, of course you'd say that. You work with realtors every day. That's fair. So let me be the skeptic for you. Here's the objection I hear all the time. If I sell it myself, I save the commission. And on the surface, that math looks tempting. On a $425,000 home, the commission might run somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000. So the FSBO seller thinks, I just made $25,000 by doing it myself. But hold on. So what does this really mean for you? You didn't save $25,000. You spent $65,000 to save $25,000. Nobody would take that trade if it were written on paper in front of them. But because the $65,000 is invisible, because it is money you never see, sellers make that trade every single day and feel smart doing it. That is the trap. You can count the commission. You cannot count the offers you never got. Now, I want to be fair about the data, because being fair with numbers is kind of my whole job. Studies do show that people are more likely to sell on their own in markets with lower price points. So part of that gap is the neighborhood, not just the agent. But even when you account for that, the pattern holds. Sellers with professional representation consistently walk away with more. Why? Let me tell you about a couple. I'll call Mark and Susan, not their real names, but a real situation I see all the time. They decided to sell on their own, put a sign in the yard, posted some phone photos online, priced the house based on what the neighbor's house sold for 2 years ago. 2 years ago? In this market, that's like pricing gasoline based on what it cost when your kid was in middle school. They got one offer in 6 weeks, and here's the part nobody tells you. The buyer who shows up to a FSBO knows you're not paying an agent. So what do? They ask for the discount you thought you were keeping. The savings you planned on became the buyer's negotiating chip. Compare that with what a good listing strategy does. Professional pricing based on today's data, not memory. Real marketing exposure, so the home is in front of every serious buyer in the market, not just the ones who happen to drive down your street. And skilled negotiation, so that when 3 offers come in, someone who does this every day is playing those offers against each other on your behalf. Exposure creates competition. Competition creates price. That is not magic. That is an auction with better attendance. Remember, rsrsalesmax.com. rsrsalesmax.com. We show you how to maximize the sales price, minimize the time on market. Think about it this way. If you had a rare baseball card, would you sell it to the one guy who knocks on your door, or would you put it in front of every collector in the country? Same card, very different check. And here's why I put my certified liability advisor hat on. Because most families, the home is the single largest asset they own. When you sell it, that equity becomes real money. $65,000 of additional proceeds is not a rounding error. That is money that can pay down expensive debt, strengthen your liquidity, and lower your household blended interest rate. That is strategic debt management, and it starts with not giving your equity away at the closing table. Because as I always say, strategy beats rate, always. And strategy starts before the for sale sign ever goes in the ground. So what should you do if you're thinking about selling? Get informed about the real exposure and real pricing strategy look like before you decide to go it alone. You can get the pricing for your property, rsrlinks.com/myhome, rsrlinks.com/myhome. We're going to show you the comps, and we can even give you a competitive market analysis if you want one. No cost to you. Go to rsrlinks.com/salesmax. That's rsrlinks.com/salesmax. It walks you through how proper pricing and maximum exposure put more money in your pocket when you sell. It costs you nothing to look. At California prices, it might cost you 6 figures not to. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Let's see, Borrow Smart segment today, being brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com. If you have a student loan or a kid heading toward college, the rulebook you planned around just got rewritten. As of July 1st, the biggest federal student loan overhaul in years is now in effect, and most borrowers have no idea what it means for their wallet. I'm Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let's talk about what actually changed, because these new rules touch your monthly payment, your borrowing limits, your credit, and yes, even your future mortgage. First, the SAVE, S-A-V-E repayment plan is being phased out. If you were on it, watch your mail and your email, because your servicer is moving you. The new primary income-driven option is called the Repayment Assistance Plan, or RAP. Under RAP, your payment is based on your income and family size, typically between 1% and 10% of income. Families get a $50 monthly payment reduction for each dependent. Here's the part I like. If you make your required payment on time, any unpaid monthly interest may be waived. That means your balance stops growing while you pay. And if your payment does not knock at least $50 off your principal, the government may match up to $50 a month toward it. If you've been paying for years and watching your balance sit still, that is real relief. Second, The old 10-year standard plan has been replaced with tiered standard plan. Your repayment term now depends on your balance. It could be 10, 15, 20, or 25 years. So what does this mean for you? A longer term means a lower monthly payment, but more total interest over the life of the loan. Sound familiar? It's the same trade-off I walk families through on mortgages every week. The payment is not the price. The total cost is the price. And strategy beats rate always. Third, graduate students just lost the blank check. The Grad Plus program is being eliminated for new borrowers. In its place are hard caps, $20,500 a year and $100,000 lifetime for standard graduate programs, $50,000 a year and a $200,000 lifetime cap for professional programs like medical or law school. There's also a combined federal lifetime limit that counts what you already borrowed. If someone in your house is considering an expensive graduate program, compare scholarships, employer tuition help, institutional aid, and private options before signing anything. Fourth, Parent Plus loans now have real limits, $20,000 per child per year with a $65,000 lifetime cap per child. And here is the part parents need to hear. New Parent Plus loans issued after July 1st, 2026 may have fewer payment options than the old ones. If your college plan was, we'll figure it out with federal loans, that plan needs an update. Picture this, a family with 2 kids and a gap of $40,000 a year between savings and tuition. Under the old rules, federal loans could stretch it to cover it. Under the new caps, they cannot. That family needs a written plan years earlier, not a surprise in the financial aid office. Fifth, one piece of good news that is easy to miss. The auto-pay discount on federal student loans jumped from 0.25% to a full 1% rate reduction on the interest rate. But there is a deadline. You need to be enrolled in auto-pay or enroll by September 30, 2026. The enhanced discount currently runs through June 30th, 2028. If your budget can handle automatic payments without risking overdrafts, that is one of the easiest savings you'll find anywhere. Now, why am I, a mortgage guy, spending a whole segment on student loans? Because your student loan is not just a college bill. It's a line on your credit report and a line in your debt-to-income ratio. Payment history is the single biggest factor in your credit score. And these servicer transitions are exactly when payments get missed by accident. When you apply for a home loan, your student loan payment helps decide how much house you can qualify for. A repayment plan change of a few $100s a month can move your buying power by tens of thousands of dollars. So check your credit report while these changes roll out. You can pull your report and score at rsrlinks.com/FICO. That's rsrlinks.com/FICO and see exactly what lenders see. And if these changes have you rethinking your whole household budget, I offer a free tool for that. Key Steps helps you monitor your credit, build a real budget, and track your assets in one place. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps and set it up right now. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. Know the new rules, run the numbers before your servicer runs them for you. I am Ron Siegel, your Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, savings is not about willpower. It's about the order you pay your bills. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. Every month you sit down and pay everybody. You pay the mortgage company, you pay the power company, you pay the phone company, you even pay the person who hauls away your trash. But there's one name on that list who almost never gets paid. You. I'm Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Today, I want to talk to you about the oldest money habit in the book and why almost nobody actually does it. It's called paying yourself first. Here's the idea in one sentence. Before you pay a single bill, you take a slice of your paycheck and you send it to your future, your savings, your investments, your family's safety net. You get the cream at the top of the bucket, not whatever is left at the bottom. And let me tell you, at the bottom of the bucket, there's usually nothing left. So what does the average family actually save? As of early 2025, the personal savings rate in this country was about 3.9%. That means for every $100 that comes in, less than $4 gets set aside. Go back to the housing crisis in 2008, and that number briefly jumped to 7.3% when people got scared. Then it drifted right back down. When times feel good, we save less. When times feel scary, we save more. That's backwards, and it keeps families stuck. So what does this mean for you? It means willpower is not the answer. If saving depended on having money left over at the end of the month, none of us would ever save a dime. There's always another expense with its hand out. The trick with paying yourself first is that you never give the money a chance to disappear. It leaves before you can spend it. Picture this. Imagine a homeowner with a mortgage around $650,000. Good income, nice house, and at the end of every month, somehow there's nothing left to save. Not because they're careless, because every dollar already had a job before it arrived. Now imagine that same family decides to move just a small slice off the top the day the paycheck lands, before the bills, before the spending. Automatic, out of sight. In a year, they have a cushion. In 5 years, they have choices. Nothing about their income changed, only the order of operations changed. That's the whole secret. Pay yourself first, then live on the rest. Now, where should that money go? If retirement is your target, a 401k at work is a simple place to start because the money comes out before you ever see it. Many employers will match a piece of what you put in. That match is free money. Do not leave it on the table. For money that you might need sooner, keep it somewhere separate and safe so you're not tempted to spend it. Once that balance grows, you can look at options that fit your risk tolerance, your time horizon, and your goals. And here's where I want to be careful with you, because this is where a lot of well-meaning advice goes wrong. Some people here pay yourself first and think the smartest move is to throw every extra dollar at the mortgage and pay the house off early. I understand the feeling, but I rarely recommend it, and here's why. The moment you send extra money to the lender, that money is gone. You can't get it back without borrowing it again. You've traded away your liquidity, which is your safety. Think about safety, liquidity, and return in that order. Paying yourself first protects all three. Locking your money inside your house protects none of them. This is why I always say strategy beats rate always. It's not about chasing the lowest rate on one loan. It's about your household blended interest rate and how every dollar in your life is working together. A family that saves consistently and keeps their money liquid is in a stronger position than a family with a slightly lower rate and nothing in the bank. So start small if you have to. Move something off the top this month. $10, $50, a percentage, whatever you can hold on to without flinching. The amount matters less than the habit. The sooner you begin, the more time your money has to grow. If you want a simple way to see where your money is going and set up a plan to finally pay yourself first, I put a resource together for you. It helps you build your budget, track your next steps, and keep this habit on autopilot. Go to rsrlinks.com/debt-free. That's rsrlinks.com/debt-free. And choose the option on the far right, which says it's free if you talk to a debt counselor. That's me. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.